My name is Henry Arthur. I am going into my fourth year of law school at the University of Botswana. Before doing law school, I studied chartered accounting. And then as I was in the workplace, I decided to pivot because I realized that my strengths, my passions, they were not being met. And one of my passions is oration, speaking, and litigating. So I wanted to do it beyond just watching Judge Judy. I wanted to actually find myself on the courtroom floor. And so I found myself in law school. It was to take 5 years. I'm in my fourth year already. I just blinked and so much time had passed. And as the time was passing, I've gone on some very, very interesting stops. One of the stops was being the class captain, which is like the class representative, and then also joining the University of Botswana Moot Court Law Society, that is, rather. I was approached by the current president. They asked me if I wanted to join mooting because I am very active in terms of the debating world, because that's what I'm somewhat known for as well. So I'm the president of the debate club at the University of Botswana. And right now we're even hosting a SADC competition, but that's another story for another day. We had a mood problem that was very in the theme. Yes, in the theme of that. So essentially, in that mood problem, what is happening is that we have a girl child who's in an all-girls school. There's only 2 schools in the rural village of this village, and it's all boys and all girls. So at the long and short of it is the prom dance. You're allowed to bring a boy of a certain age towards the prom. But then the one girl in the scenario, she decides, no, I want to bring a girl. And she even posts on Facebook or on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, whatever you want to call it. And then the school gets wind of this, and they tell her that, first of all, this is an all-Christian school. We're not going to expel you or punish you, but we're not going to allow you to bring a girl to the dance. And number 2, if you post any more media about your sexual orientation whilst you're in the school, we might put you to expulsion. I've paraphrased the problem, but if you get the gist of it, that moot problem, it spoke to me because it becomes a question of, is recognition enough if you're not outright banned, like in countries like Uganda, where you have all these sodomy laws and all the likes. But what is meaningful recognition? Meaningful recognition should be about enable you to access the same privileges, the same peace of mind, the same civic everyday responsibilities, I would like to call it, for lack of a better term, that the cisgender person has. And so that's what spoke to the mood problem, but it was also a bit of a twist, because now the question then became, but how mean it's just the dance? Because, I mean, if I'm having a party, I can set up my own rules, right? So that was the interesting dynamic of it, and it forced students to actually think critically and then put them in the real world so that we understand what really happens when laws are made. And it's interesting because in Botswana, just very recently, the sodomy laws, which is a hangover from our colonial past, our penal code is quite outdated, such that same intercourse that is not conventional, biblical, if you might call it, it has been outlawed. Now, unlike other countries that are very conservative, Botswana is conservative, but unlike other countries, they don't go around and try to imprison people and find out what they're actually doing. So in this case, in the case of the Botswana Court of Appeal, they finally made a precedent that no, this law is unconstitutional. And then the question then becomes, what happens when you have members of the churches actually protesting? Because we had pockets of the Botswana society actually saying, no, we're against this law. We don't care if you're homosexual, but as Christians, we don't want the law to change. And I think that's what this mood problem spoke to. And that's what more people should be aware of. Is it enough to say you're not going to throw sticks and stones towards people who don't identify with you? Or is it more meaningful if you actually consider them to be such a part and parcel of society that they can access the same everyday stuff,
services,
yes, everyday services that the normal person would, and and that's why we had the mood problem. It was done. I convened it up until the latter stages, and then I also got assistance from others, and then it went well. And fortunately, the team that was fighting for the rights of the girl, they won. Well, to be quite frank, at first, when it comes to you, at first, you're asking yourself, wait, how is this meaningful? And we even had people asking, why should I participate? But when you actually engage with the matter, you engage with the content, you realize that it puts you in line with what it is actually happens in the real world, in terms of being aware of the facts that are around you, the logistics, just the logistics alone of making the tournament happen. That is an everyday adult skill that you need to have. But then in terms of being a legal profession, I got to understand the kind of problems that lawyers actually face all the time, in which you might even find yourself fighting a losing battle. What are you gonna do to ensure that your client gets the best service? And I think that's the most important experience that I got from helping to conduct this Moot Court competition.